The alarm bells rang across the Galactic Council's main station. Commander Zektor of the Thrakari Defense Force looked at the screens with his 4 eyes. Something new had entered their space. Something they had never seen before. "Sir, we have unknown ships at the edge of Sector 7, reported his aide. "They're not responding to our challenges." Zektor clicked his claws against the metal desk. In his 200 years of service, he had seen many first contacts. Most ended badly for the newcomers. The galaxy was not kind to weak species. "Show me," he ordered. The main screen lit up with images of 3 small ships. They looked crude compared to Council vessels. No energy shields visible. No obvious weapons. The ships were gray and simple, like metal boxes with engines attached. "Scans show basic technology," the aide continued. "Primitive, faster-than-light drive. Simple metal hulls. They appear to be from a species we've never encountered." Zektor relaxed slightly. Another weak race trying to explore beyond their tiny corner of space. He had dealt with dozens of these. Most became slaves or servants to stronger species. A few were allowed to trade in the outer sectors. "Open a channel," he commanded. The screen changed to show a strange creature. It had only 2 eyes, smooth pink skin, and no visible natural weapons. It wore some kind of uniform and sat calmly despite being surrounded by superior forces. "Greetings," the creature said in heavily accented council standard. "I am Ambassador Sarah Chen of the Human Federation. We come in peace and request permission to speak with your governing body." Zektor almost laughed. The creature looked so weak. No claws, no armor plating, no sign of strength at all. Its voice was steady, but the translator software picked up stress markers. These humans were afraid, as they should be. "I am Commander Zektor of the Galactic Council Defense Force. You have entered Council space without permission." "Explain your presence," Sarah Chen nodded politely. "We apologize for any violation. Our people have recently developed faster-than-light travel. We seek peaceful contact with other civilizations. We have no hostile intentions." "Of course you don't," Zektor thought. These humans couldn't threaten a cargo freighter, much less a Council warship. "You will follow my ships to Station Alpha," he ordered. "The Council will decide what to do with you." "Thank you, Commander. We appreciate your guidance, but please remember, you don't want to make us angry." Zektor blinked in confusion. Was this tiny creature threatening him? The translator must have made an error. He looked at his aide, who shrugged with all 4 arms. "Repeat your last statement," Zektor demanded. Sarah Chen smiled peacefully. "I said we appreciate your guidance. We look forward to meeting your council." Strange. The translator clearly picked up a warning, but the human's face showed no aggression. Perhaps it was some primitive greeting ritual. 3 days later, the human delegation stood before the full Galactic Council. 12 species sat in judgment of these newcomers. The humans looked even more pathetic in person. They had brought only 3 representatives to face the combined might of the galaxy's rulers. High Counselor Vextar of the Korvaxi Empire studied the humans with his red eyes. The Korvaxi were the Council's primary military force, and Vextar had conquered 17 species in his lifetime. "These humans would make decent servants if they proved useful. State your business," Vextar growled in his deep voice. Sarah Chen stepped forward without fear. "Interesting. Most species trembled before the Korvaxi. Honored counselors. We request permission to establish a small trading post in neutral space. We also ask for mining rights to 3 uninhabited asteroids in the Outer Rim. We offer technology exchange and peaceful cooperation." The counselors looked at each other. Such modest requests. Most new species demanded territory, resources, or protection. These humans asked for almost nothing. "What do you offer in return?" asked Counselor Thiss of the Merchant Guild. "We have medical knowledge, agricultural techniques, and some unique technologies. We also offer our services as neutral mediators for disputes." Vextar snorted. "What could primitives like you possibly teach us?" Sarah Chen's smile never wavered, but something flickered in her eyes. "We have learned much about conflict resolution. We strongly prefer peaceful solutions. Violence should always be the last option. You really don't want to make us angry." There it was again. That strange phrase. The Council's xenobiologists had been studying the recordings. Their conclusion was simple. The humans were using psychological intimidation to compensate for their obvious weakness. Many primitive species did this. "You seem very concerned about anger," observed Dr. Renth of the Science Collective. "Is your species prone to emotional instability?" "Quite the opposite," Sarah replied. We are very good at controlling our anger, but when we do get angry, the results tend to be significant. Counselor Theiss activated his private channel to speak with the others. The psychological profiles suggest these humans are bluffing. Their ships show no advanced weapons. Their technology is adequate but not impressive. They appear to be a peaceful trading species trying to seem tougher than they are. The vote was unanimous. The humans would be granted their requests. They were classified as a Class C civilization, technologically competent but militarily insignificant. Over the following months, the humans proved to be excellent neighbors. Their trading post became a popular neutral meeting ground. They settled disputes fairly and never took sides in larger conflicts. Their technology was reliable, and their medical knowledge surprisingly advanced. The human mining operation on the asteroids proceeded quietly. They extracted common metals and shipped them to their home systems. Nothing valuable enough to interest the major powers. But Intelligence Officer Crix of the Zephyrian Collective noticed some odd things in his reports. The human trading post was built much stronger than necessary. The walls could withstand military-grade weapons. The power systems could handle 10 times the normal load. Human merchant ships carried unusual mass readings. They claimed to transport simple trade goods, but the ships rode heavier than their cargo should allow. When asked, the humans explained they carried safety equipment for long journeys. Most interesting were the humans themselves. They remembered everything. Every conversation, every detail, every piece of information shared with them. They claimed to have excellent memories, but the level of detail was remarkable. Crix filed his observations in the intelligence database. Possibly interesting, but not immediately important. The humans remained peaceful and helpful. Meanwhile, the Korvaxi Empire continued its expansion into the Outer Rim. Vextar had his eyes on several new systems, including some near-human space. The humans would need to be dealt with eventually, but they could wait. They posed no threat to anyone. During a council meeting 6 months after first contact, Sarah Chen addressed the assembly again. Several minor species had requested human mediation for trade disputes. The results had been impressive. "The Human Federation thanks the Council for welcoming us," she said. "We hope to continue building peaceful relationships with all species. We believe cooperation benefits everyone more than conflict." Wise words from a weak species, Vextar muttered, loud enough for others to hear. Sarah turned to look directly at him. For just a moment, her peaceful expression changed. Something cold and dangerous flashed in her eyes. "Counselor Vextar, we hope you remember our earlier conversations. Peace is always preferable. You really truly don't want to make us angry?" The moment passed. Sarah's smile returned. The other counselors chuckled at what they saw as continued posturing, but Vextar felt something he hadn't experienced in decades. For just an instant, looking into those human eyes, he had felt like prey. He shook off the feeling. Impossible. These humans were nothing more than clever merchants. Still, he made a mental note to keep watching them. After all, even the weakest creatures sometimes had hidden stingers. 2 years had passed since the humans joined the galactic community. They had proven to be exactly what they appeared, peaceful traders who avoided conflict. This made them perfect targets for testing. Captain Vorthak of the Zephyrian merchant fleet smiled as he reviewed the latest trade reports. The humans were so easy to cheat. Their representative, a female named Maria Santos, never argued when he shortchanged their cargo payments. "The metal shipment from Asteroid Station 3, Vorthak told his aide. "Pay them 60% of the agreed price. Tell them market conditions have changed." His aide looked nervous. "Sir, the humans have been very fair with us. Perhaps we should honor the full contract." Vorthak's 3 eyes glared at the younger Zephyrian. "Fair? They're Class C primitives. They should be grateful we trade with them at all. If they don't like our terms, they can find other buyers." The aide knew better than to argue further. Vorthak had been cheating alien traders for 50 years. The humans were just the latest victims. When Maria Santos received the payment notice, she studied it carefully. This was the 4th time in 6 months that the Zephyrians had reduced their payments after delivery. "Captain Vorthak," she said over the communication link, "this payment is 40% below our agreed contract." There must be an error. Vorthak's image appeared on screen, showing his typical arrogant expression. "No error, human. Market prices have dropped. You should accept what we offer." Maria's voice remained calm and professional. I understand market fluctuations, but our contract includes price guarantees. We delivered exactly what was ordered, on time and in perfect condition. Contracts can be renegotiated, Vorthak said with obvious contempt. Take our offer or find someone else to buy your common metals. Maria nodded slowly. Very well. But Captain Vorthak, please remember, you don't want to make us angry. This behavior is being noted in our records. Vorthak laughed. Your records? What will you do? Write a strongly worded complaint. Accept the payment primitive. The communication ended. Maria made detailed notes about the interaction, just as she had with the previous incidents. The reports would go to Earth, where human analysts tracked every interaction with alien species. Meanwhile, in Thrakari space, Commander Jorik was having his own fun with the humans. His patrol ships had accidentally entered human territory 17 times in the past month. Each time, the humans filed polite protests and asked them to leave. Take Squadron 4 through Human Sector 7 again, Jorik ordered his lieutenant. Make sure to scan their mining platforms thoroughly. We need to ensure they're not hiding anything dangerous. The lieutenant's mandibles clicked nervously. Sir, the humans have requested we coordinate patrol schedules to avoid their operations. They seem genuinely concerned about safety. Let them be concerned, Jorik growled. We go where we please. If they don't like it, let them try to stop us. The Thrakari squadron swept through human space, their heavy cruisers passing dangerously close to the mining platforms. Human workers stopped their operations and moved to safe positions, but no defensive weapons appeared. No challenges were issued. Captain James Wright of the human patrol ship Endeavour watched the alien ships from his bridge. His crew looked tense, hands hovering near weapon controls that officially didn't exist. Sir? His weapons officer said quietly. We could disable their entire squadron in 30 seconds. Stand down, Wright ordered. Remember the mission. We observe, we document, we report. Nothing more. But sir, they're deliberately threatening our civilians. Wright's jaw tightened. I know exactly what they're doing, Lieutenant. But we have our orders. We don't reveal capabilities unless civilians are actually killed. Log everything and send it to command. The Thrakari ships completed their patrol and departed. As soon as they left, Wright sent a detailed report to human intelligence. Ship positions, formation patterns, weapon signatures, shield frequencies, everything. But the most aggressive testing came from the Korvaxi Empire. High Admiral Vextar had decided that human space would make an excellent addition to Korvaxi territory. The humans controlled 3 star systems with valuable asteroid fields. More importantly, they were too weak to resist. Vextar began by establishing security checkpoints near human trade routes. Human merchant ships were stopped, searched, and charged protection fees for safe passage. Captain Lisa Chen of the merchant vessel New Horizon faced her 3rd Korvaxi checkpoint this month. The massive Korvaxi dreadnought dwarfed her small cargo ship. Human vessel, prepare for inspection, came the threatening voice of Captain Skorth. You will pay the standard security fee of 10,000 credits. Lisa sighed. Captain Skorth, we paid this fee just last week. Our cargo manifest shows only agricultural equipment bound for Centauri colony. Fees are charged per passage, not per month. Skorth replied. Pay or be detained for smuggling. We're not smuggling anything. You inspected this exact cargo 6 days ago. Are you refusing to cooperate with Korvaxi security forces? Lisa closed her eyes for a moment. She could end this charade instantly. Her cargo ship carried enough firepower to turn the Korvaxi dreadnought into scrap metal. But orders were orders, no sir. We'll pay the fee, but please understand you really don't want to make us angry. This harassment is being documented. Skorth's laughter echoed through the comm channel. Documented by who? Your pathetic federation has no power here. Pay the fee and move along. The pattern continued for months. Zephyrians cheated human traders. Thrakari patrols accidentally violated human space. Korvaxi forces demanded tribute from human ships. Other species watched to see how the humans would respond. The humans did nothing. They filed complaints with the council which were ignored. They increased security at their facilities but never showed weapons. They paid the bribes and accepted the cheating with polite protests. The galactic intelligence community reached a unanimous conclusion. Humans were exactly what they appeared to be. A peaceful, weak species that preferred submission to conflict. They could be pushed around safely, but on Earth, in the deepest levels of human command, Admiral Sarah Chen reviewed the intelligence reports with growing concern. Her sister Lisa's encounters with the Korvaxi were becoming more frequent and aggressive. How many incidents this month? She asked her intelligence chief. 47 direct confrontations, Admiral. The Korvaxi are clearly testing our limits. The Thrakari incursions are increasing. The Zephyrian trade cheating has cost us over 2 million credits. Sarah studied the star charts. Any signs they suspect our real capabilities? None, ma'am. They're convinced we're helpless. Their communications intercepts show they're planning something bigger. Sarah nodded grimly. Keep monitoring. Maintain peaceful responses for now. But start moving our assets into position. If they cross the line, ma'am, make sure our people remember the rules of engagement. No action until civilians are actually killed. But when that happens, we respond with overwhelming force. No warnings, no negotiations. Understood, Admiral. The intelligence chief left to update the fleet commanders. Sarah remained at her desk, studying reports from across human space. Every insult, every theft, every threat was carefully documented. The aliens thought they were dealing with sheep. They had no idea they were actually poking a sleeping dragon, but the dragon was very close to waking up. In Korvaxi space, Vextar was planning his next move. The humans controlled valuable territory, and his forces needed a quick victory to maintain their reputation. The human systems would be easy conquests. He looked at intelligence reports that showed human weakness and smiled. Soon he would add their territory to the Korvaxi Empire. The humans could serve as laborers in their own former colonies. After all, what could such a peaceful species possibly do to stop him? High Admiral Vextar stood before the Korvaxi War Council, his red eyes gleaming with anticipation. The holographic display showed the human colony of New Geneva, floating peacefully in space like a ripe fruit waiting to be picked. The human colony sits on the edge of the Kepler system, he explained to the assembled war chiefs. 50,000 humans, mostly farmers and miners. They have no military installations, no defensive fleets, and no allies willing to fight for them. War Chief Kravik leaned forward in his chair. What about the Galactic Council? Won't they object to unprovoked aggression? Vextar's laugh was like grinding metal. The Council cares nothing for weak species. The humans have been complaining about our activities for months. Has anyone helped them? No. They stand alone. The display zoomed in on New Geneva's main city. Gardens and parks were visible between the residential areas. Children played in outdoor spaces. The colony looked like a peaceful farming community, which it was. Their orbital defenses consist of 2 automated platforms with civilian-grade sensors. Vextar continued. No weapons, no shields. We could destroy the entire colony with a single dreadnought. Then why use the entire Third Fleet? Asked another war chief. Because this isn't just about conquest, Vextar smiled coldly. This is about sending a message. When the galaxy sees how easily we crush the humans, other species will remember why they fear the Korvaxi Empire. The vote was unanimous. Operation Steel Fist would begin in 3 days. On New Geneva, Governor Tom Mitchell was reviewing agricultural reports when his communication officer burst into the room. Sir, we have a priority message from Earth Command. Admiral Sarah Chen needs to speak with you immediately. Tom's stomach dropped. Priority messages from Earth Command meant serious trouble. He activated the quantum communication link. Admiral Chen's face appeared on the screen, looking grim. Tom, our intelligence indicates the Korvaxi Third Fleet is moving toward your position. We estimate they'll arrive in 60 hours. How many ships? 12 dreadnoughts, 30 cruisers, support vessels. Enough to glass the entire colony. Tom felt cold. What are our options? We're implementing Evacuation Protocol 7. Transport ships are already en route, but they won't arrive for 4 days. You need to buy us time. Admiral, we have 50,000 civilians here. Families, children. Our fastest ships can't outrun Korvaxi warships. Sarah's expression hardened. Tom, I need you to understand something. The Korvaxi think they're attacking defenseless farmers. They have no idea what's really coming for them. Your job is to protect civilian lives until our response arrives. What response? We don't have any military ships in this sector. Trust me, Tom, just keep people alive. Help is closer than you think. The transmission ended, leaving Tom staring at a blank screen. He activated the colony-wide alert system. Attention all residents of New Geneva. This is Governor Mitchell. We have received intelligence of an incoming hostile fleet. All civilians are to report to emergency shelters immediately. This is not a drill. Across the colony, families gathered their children and emergency supplies. They had drilled for this possibility, but no one had expected it to actually happen. The humans had been so careful to avoid conflict. Meanwhile, the Korvaxi Third Fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system. Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds, and surveyed his target. "Begin long-range scans," he ordered. "I want to know everything about their defenses." His sensor officer worked for several minutes before reporting. "Sir, the colony has minimal orbital infrastructure, 2 civilian sensor platforms, 1 small spaceport, several mining facilities. No military installations detected. Any fleet movements?" "Negative, sir. We detect 3 small cargo ships fleeing the system, but no warships." Vextar nodded with satisfaction. "Open a channel to the colony." Tom Mitchell's face appeared on the main screen, looking tired but determined. Behind him, emergency lights flashed as colonists moved to shelter areas. "I am High Admiral Vextar of the Korvaxi Empire," he announced. "Your colony is now under Korvaxi control. Surrender immediately, and you will be allowed to live as servants." Tom's jaw tightened. "Admiral Vextar, this colony is sovereign human territory. You have no legal claim here." "Legal claim?" Vextar laughed. "I have 12 dreadnoughts. That is all the legal authority I need. Please reconsider your actions. You don't want to make us angry." The Korvaxi bridge crew burst into laughter. Even after facing overwhelming force, the humans were still making their pathetic threats. "Human, your species has been making that ridiculous statement for months. You have shown nothing but weakness. What could you possibly do to stop me?" Tom's expression remained calm, but his voice carried an edge of steel. "Admiral, this is your final warning. Withdraw your forces immediately or face the consequences." Vexitar's amusement turned to anger. "You dare threaten me? I will show you the price of defying the Korvaxi Empire." He turned to his weapons officer. "Target the colony's main city. Orbital bombardment. Civilian sectors first. Show them what happens to those who resist us." "Sir, that will kill thousands of civilians." "Exactly. Fire." The Destroyer of Worlds' main guns lit up space with deadly energy. Massive plasma bolts struck New Geneva's capital city, turning buildings into vapor and people into memories. The peaceful parks and gardens vanished in pillars of fire. 3,000 civilians died in the first 5 minutes. Tom Mitchell watched his colony burn from the emergency command bunker. His hands shook as he activated the emergency beacon. "This is New Geneva Colony to Earth Command. We are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack. Korvaxi forces are conducting orbital bombardment of civilian targets. Casualties are heavy." On Earth, Admiral Sarah Chen received the message in the middle of a strategy meeting. The room fell silent as Tom's voice played over the speakers. "Casualties confirmed, 3,000 dead, unknown number wounded. Korvaxi Admiral Vextar is demanding immediate surrender." Sarah closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, they were filled with cold fury. "Send the recall signal to all fleet commanders," she said quietly. "Activate Operation Righteous Fury. All stealth units to full readiness." Her aide looked confused. "Ma'am, what's stealth units? Our fleet is still weeks away from Kepler system." Sarah's smile was like winter ice. "No, they're not. We've had assets in position for months. The Korvaxi think they're attacking helpless farmers. They're about to learn why we warned them not to make us angry." She activated the priority command channel that reached every human military unit in the galaxy. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen, Human Fleet Command. The Korvaxi Empire has murdered 3,000 human civilians in an unprovoked attack on New Geneva Colony. As of this moment, we are at war. Execute Operation Righteous Fury immediately." Across human space, ships that had been hiding as merchant vessels powered up their true weapon systems. Trading posts revealed their hidden military installations. Peaceful human diplomats activated emergency protocols. The sleeping dragon had finally awakened, and it was very, very angry. On the Destroyer of Worlds, Vextar was enjoying his victory when his sensor officer made a disturbing report. "Sir, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures throughout the system. Explain. Multiple contacts materializing out of nowhere. They appear to be ships, sir. Big ones. Vextar turned to look at the tactical display. Dozens of new contacts were appearing on the screen surrounding his fleet. How is that possible? We scanned this system thoroughly. Before anyone could answer, a new voice came over the communication channel. It was calm, professional, and absolutely terrifying in its controlled fury. Korvaxi vessels, this is Admiral Lisa Chen of the Human Defense Force. You have murdered our people. You wanted to see us angry. Congratulations. You have 72 hours to evacuate all human territories. This is not a negotiation. Vextar stared at the screen in disbelief. The humans had a fleet? And where had it come from? His answer came when the empty space around his ships began to shimmer and fade, revealing the most advanced warships he had ever seen. Admiral Vextar stared at his tactical display in growing horror. Where moments before had shown empty space, now dozens of massive human warships surrounded his fleet. These were not the crude vessels they had seen at first contact. These ships were sleek, deadly, and completely invisible until they chose to reveal themselves. Sir, his sensor officer said with a trembling voice. The human ships they're massive. Some of them are larger than our dreadnoughts. And their energy signatures. I've never seen anything like this. Vextar's mind raced. How had the humans hidden an entire fleet? Their intelligence reports showed no military shipyards, no battle fleets, no advanced weapons. Yet here they were, surrounded by vessels that made his proud Third Fleet look like toys. Open a channel, he ordered, trying to keep his voice steady. Admiral Lisa Chen's face appeared on screen. She looked exactly like the peaceful diplomats the Korvaxi had been dealing with for months, but her eyes held something that made Vextar's blood run cold. This was not a frightened primitive. This was a predator. Admiral Vextar, Lisa said in a voice like ice. You have exactly 17 minutes to withdraw from this system before we open fire. Vextar forced himself to laugh. Human, you may have more ships than we expected, but you still face the mighty Korvaxi Third Fleet. We have conquered 17 species. We do not run from anyone. 16 minutes, Lisa replied calmly. You're bluffing. No species in the galaxy has technology superior to the Korvaxi Empire. Lisa's expression didn't change. 15 minutes. I suggest you use this time to contact your superiors and inform them that they are about to lose their entire Third Fleet. Vextar cut the transmission and turned to his fleet commander. Battle stations. All ships prepare for combat. Show these upstart humans the power of the Korvaxi war machine. The Korvaxi fleet spread into attack formation. 12 massive dreadnoughts, each capable of destroying cities, powered up their weapons. 30 cruisers moved to support positions. It was enough firepower to conquer most star systems. But as they moved, something impossible happened. Several Korvaxi ships suddenly lost power. Their engines went dark, their weapons powered down, their shields collapsed. What's happening? Vextar demanded. Sir, the humans. They're jamming our systems somehow. 8 ships report complete power failure. The drives just stopped working. That's impossible. Our technology is shielded against all known interference. His communication officer looked up with fear in his eyes. Sir, I'm receiving reports from across Korvaxi space. Our bases at Xerion 4, Malthus Prime, and Keth Station are under attack. They're requesting immediate assistance. Vextar felt ice in his veins. Under attack by who? Human forces, sir. They appeared out of nowhere, just like here. The tactical display updated to show the scope of the crisis. Red warning icons appeared throughout Korvaxi territory. Fortress worlds that had never been threatened were crying for help. Supply depots were being destroyed. Fleet bases were going silent. How many human ships are there? Vextar whispered. Before anyone could answer, the human fleet around New Geneva opened fire. What happened next would be remembered as the most one-sided battle in galactic history. Human weapons sliced through Korvaxi shields as if they didn't exist. Energy beams that should have been stopped by heavy armor instead carved through dreadnought hulls like paper. The Korvaxi returned fire with everything they had, but their weapons simply bounced off the human ship's defenses. It was like trying to damage mountains with thrown rocks. Vextar watched in horror as his flagship sister ship, the Throne of Conquest, was cut in half by a single human beam weapon. The massive dreadnought split apart like a broken toy, its crew of 3,000 lost in seconds. All ships, retreat, he screamed into his communicator. Jump to hyperspace immediately. But the Korvaxi ships couldn't jump. Every time they tried to activate their faster-than-light drives, the systems failed. The humans had somehow trapped them in normal space. Sir, the humans are hailing us again. Admiral Lisa Chen reappeared on screen. Behind her, Vextar could see the efficient activity of a modern military command center. This was not some primitive bridge. This was the nerve center of an advanced war machine. Admiral Vextar, your fleet is disabled. Surrender now and your crew will be treated according to the rules of war. Never, Vextar roared. The Korvaxi Empire does not surrender to inferior species. Lisa nodded sadly. Then you have chosen death. The human fleet concentrated its fire on the remaining Korvaxi vessels. One by one, the proud warships of the Third Fleet were systematically destroyed. Some tried to ram the human ships in desperate final attacks, but they simply bounced off the advanced shields. In 17 minutes, the entire Korvaxi Third Fleet was gone. 12 dreadnoughts, 30 cruisers, and all support vessels were either destroyed or disabled. Of the 40,000 Korvaxi crew members, only those on ships that surrendered survived, but the humans were just getting started. Across Korvaxi space, human fleets emerged from hiding places no one had suspected. They had been there for months, disguised as merchant ships hidden in asteroid fields, masked by technology the galaxy had never seen. The Korvaxi fortress world of Zerion I-4 was defended by an entire battle group and orbital defense platforms that could destroy fleets. The human attack force consisted of just 3 ships. The battle lasted 8 minutes. General Korthax, defender of Zerion I-4, sent his final transmission as human marines stormed his command bunker. They're not using ships. They're using mobile battle stations. Our weapons can't even scratch their hulls. How did we not know? On Malthus Prime, Admiral Scorvin tried to use the civilian population as human shields, positioning his fleet above the main city. The human response was swift and precise. Their weapons somehow disabled every Korvaxi ship without harming a single civilian building below. Impossible targeting, Scorvin reported before being captured. They can thread weapons fire between our ships and avoid all collateral damage. What kind of technology is this? The most shocking revelation came at Keth Station, the Korvaxi Empire's primary intelligence facility. The human assault team didn't just defeat the defenses. They accessed the main database and downloaded everything. Commander Vashek, the intelligence chief, watched helplessly as human soldiers in advanced powered armor walked through defenses that should have stopped armies. Their equipment made Korvaxi technology look ancient. Sir, one of his officers said, they're copying our entire intelligence archive. All our secret files, agent networks, military plans. They're taking everything. Vashek realized the horrible truth. They're not just defeating us. They're learning everything about us. Every ally, every enemy, every weakness. But perhaps the most disturbing report came from the Outer Rim, where a Korvaxi patrol encountered human civilians for the first time. Since the war began, Captain Threx had been hunting human merchant ships when he found a small transport, carrying families evacuated from New Geneva. He expected an easy target, defenseless refugees to capture or destroy. Instead, the refugee ship revealed itself to be a heavily armed escort vessel. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was what the human captain told him. Captain Threx, you have been hunting our people for months. We know about every attack, every threat, every crime you have committed. We have been watching you specifically. Threx realized that the humans had been tracking individual Korvaxi officers. They had files on everyone who had participated in the harassment campaign. You're on our list, the human continued. We know where you're stationed, where your family lives, what ships you command. We know everything about you personally. For the first time in his military career, Threx felt truly afraid. The humans hadn't just been hiding military assets. They had been conducting intelligence operations throughout Korvaxi space. They knew everything. As reports flooded in from across the Empire, a terrible picture emerged. The humans had spent months preparing for this moment. They had identified every Korvaxi military installation, mapped every trade route, cataloged every officer and official. The peaceful traders who had seemed so harmless had actually been conducting the most comprehensive intelligence operation in galactic history, and now they were systematically dismantling the Korvaxi empire with surgical precision, Emperor Vexkai himself, supreme ruler of the Korvaxi, watched the reports from his throne room. In one day, he had lost 30% of his fleet and his military was in complete chaos. "How many human ships are there?" he asked his remaining admirals. "Unknown, Your Majesty. They appear and disappear at will. Our sensors can't track them properly." "What about their home systems? Can we strike back?" "Sire, we don't even know where all their territory is. They've been hiding their true size from us." Vexkai realized the full scope of his mistake. They had thought they were fighting farmers and merchants. Instead, they had awakened the most advanced military force in the galaxy, and the humans were just getting started. 2 weeks after the attack on New Geneva, Emperor Vexkai of the Korvaxi Empire sat in what remained of his throne room. Half the palace had been destroyed by precise human strikes that somehow left the civilian areas untouched. His mighty empire was crumbling around him. The communication panel activated, showing the face of Admiral Sarah Chen. She looked exactly the same as when she had first warned the council not to make humans angry, but now everyone understood what that calm expression really meant. "Emperor Vexkai," she said in her steady voice, "the Korvaxi Empire will surrender unconditionally within the next 6 hours, or we will complete the destruction of your military forces." Vexkai tried to maintain his dignity, but his voice shook. "What are your terms?" "Total disarmament of all Korvaxi military forces. All conquered territories will be released immediately. War criminals will be handed over for trial. Your government will be dissolved and replaced with civilian leadership. And if I refuse?" Sarah's expression didn't change. "Then in 12 hours there will be no Korvaxi Empire left to refuse anything." It wasn't an empty threat. The humans had demonstrated their overwhelming superiority every day since the war began. Korvaxi fleet simply vanished when they encountered human forces. Fortress worlds fell in hours instead of months. Most terrifying of all, the humans seemed to know exactly where every Korvaxi asset was located. "How?" Vexkai asked weakly. "How did we not know what you really were?" "Because you saw what you expected to see," Sarah replied. "You looked at peaceful humans and assumed we were weak. You never considered that we might be choosing peace instead of being forced into it." The Emperor's aide approached with the latest casualty reports. Vexkai read them with growing despair. In 2 weeks, the humans had destroyed 70% of the Korvaxi military. But the truly shocking number was Korvaxi civilian casualties. 0. Somehow the humans had fought the most devastating military campaign in galactic history without killing a single non-combatant. Their precision was inhuman. Their restraint was terrifying. "I don't understand," Vexkai said. "Why spare civilians? Why not just destroy our worlds?" Sarah's expression softened slightly. "Because we're not like you, Emperor. We don't wage war against innocent people. We're here to remove a threat, not to commit genocide." 6 hours later, the Korvaxi Empire officially surrendered. The document was signed in the ruins of the Imperial Palace, with human marines standing guard to ensure the Emperor's safety from his own angry citizens. But the humans didn't stop with military victory. What happened next surprised everyone. Instead of occupying Korvaxi worlds, human forces began an immediate humanitarian effort. They brought medical supplies for wounded civilians. They repaired infrastructure damaged in the fighting. They established emergency food distribution centers. Most shocking of all, they began hunting down Korvaxi officials who had abused their own people. General Morrison of the Human Peacekeeping Force explained the policy to confused reporters. "The Korvaxi Empire oppressed 17 species for over a century. We're here to fix that, not to become new oppressors ourselves." Across former Korvaxi space, human teams worked with local populations to establish democratic governments. They provided advanced technology to help rebuild war-damaged worlds. They created educational programs to teach peaceful conflict resolution. The liberated species couldn't believe what they were seeing. The humans had the power to conquer the entire galaxy, but instead they were helping their former enemies build better societies. On the former slave world of Kethari Prime, human engineers worked alongside Kethari civilians to construct the planet's first university. The Korvaxi had forbidden education for subject species. Now the humans were providing teachers and equipment. Elder Scython of the Kethari Council spoke for many when he said, "We expected new masters. Instead we found..." "Friends, is this real? Do the humans truly want nothing from us?" The answer came from Human Ambassador Martinez. We want you to be free, educated, and prosperous. Free people make better neighbors than slaves. But the galactic community was watching nervously as humanity revealed its true capabilities. If the humans could destroy the Korvaxi Empire so easily, what could they do to everyone else? The Galactic Council called an emergency session. All 12 member species gathered to discuss the human situation. The chamber buzzed with fear and uncertainty. High Counselor Thys of the Merchant Guild spoke first. The humans have demonstrated military capabilities far beyond anything we imagined. They could conquer us all. What are their intentions? Counselor Renth of the Science Collective had studied human technology captured during the war. His report was disturbing. Their ships use energy sources we don't understand. Their weapons operate on principles we can't explain. Their computers process information faster than our best systems. Militarily, they're centuries ahead of us. The chamber fell silent. Everyone was thinking the same thing. How do you negotiate with beings who could destroy your entire civilization without effort? The answer came when Admiral Sarah Chen requested permission to address the council. She walked into the chamber alone, carrying no weapons and accompanied by no guards. She looked exactly as she had 3 years ago when humans first asked for a small trading post. "Honored counselors," she began. "I know you're afraid. You've seen what we can do when we're angry. You're wondering if you're next." The silence was deafening. "Let me be clear about human intentions," Sarah continued. "We could have conquered this galaxy years ago. We didn't. We could conquer it today. We won't. We're not interested in ruling anyone." Counselor Vextar's replacement, a younger Korvaxi named Kethmar, stood up. "Then what do you want?" "We want a galaxy where strong species don't abuse weak ones, where conflicts are resolved through negotiation instead of warfare, where no one has to live in fear of conquest or slavery." Sarah activated a holographic display showing the new galactic map. Former Korvaxi territories were highlighted in blue. "We're establishing monitoring stations throughout this region. Any species that attempts territorial expansion through conquest will be stopped. Any government that enslaves its people will be removed. Any military that threatens civilians will be destroyed." The implications were staggering. The humans were appointing themselves as galactic peacekeepers. "What gives you the right?" demanded Counselor Zix of the hegemony. Sarah's smile was cold. "The same thing that gave the Korvaxi the right to conquer 17 species. The same thing that gives any government legitimacy. Power. The difference is how we choose to use it." She gestured to the display again. "We're not asking for your permission. We're informing you of the new reality. The age of conquest is over. If you want to expand your territory, you'll do it through peaceful colonization of uninhabited systems. If you want resources, you'll trade for them fairly. If you have disputes, you'll negotiate settlements." "And if we refuse?" asked another counselor. "Then you'll join the Korvaxi Empire in the history books," Sarah replied simply. The vote was unanimous. The Galactic Council officially recognized the new human enforced peace accords, but the real test came 6 months later when the Thrakari Confederation decided to test human resolve. They launched an invasion of the weak Zelthan Republic, expecting the humans to be too busy with Korvaxi reconstruction to intervene. The human response was swift and overwhelming. The entire Thrakari invasion fleet was disabled in 20 minutes. Not destroyed, disabled. The crews were unharmed, but their ships were completely powerless. Admiral Chen's message to the Thrakari government was broadcast throughout the galaxy. "You have 24 hours to withdraw all forces from Zelthan space and pay reparations for the damage caused. This is your only warning." The Thrakari complied immediately. The galaxy learned an important lesson that day. The humans meant what they said. They had the power to enforce peace, and they would use it. Over the following year, something remarkable happened. Without the threat of conquest, species began to focus on trade and development instead of military expansion. Scientific cooperation increased. Cultural exchange flourished. Standards of living improved across the galaxy. The humans established the Galactic Mediation Service, staffed by representatives from dozens of species. Disputes that once led to war were now resolved through negotiation. The human motto became famous. "Every conflict has a peaceful solution. We're here to help you find it." But they also maintained their military vigilance. Human patrol ships, now openly visible, could be found throughout civilized space. They intervened in conflicts, stopped piracy, and rescued ships in distress. They asked for nothing in return except adherence to the basic principles of galactic law. The transformation was so complete that young beings grew up in a galaxy where war between species was almost unthinkable. Peace wasn't just possible, it was enforced by beings powerful enough to make it stick. On the 5th anniversary of the HFY War, as it came to be known, Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before the Galactic Council one final time as Earth's representative. She was retiring to spend time with her family. "When we first came to you," she said, "we warned you not to make us angry. You thought it was a threat. It wasn't. It was advice from friends who knew what anger could cost.